Alright, what's up everybody? Welcome to video number 2 in the now Marauder Monday series that I'm doing. It's late, I'm tired, I went into work early, went from work to pinstripe at my buddy's shop, quick project, came home, hung out with my kids, put kids to bed, and I'm tired, but decided I was going to do this, so we're doing it even though I'm tired. Anyway, Marauder Monday. So let's talk about the truck for a minute. For the last, I don't even know how long it's been taking me at this point because brief progress once in a while over a long time just takes forever and doesn't really get you very far. I've been trying to put a 4-link kit in the truck. Rear suspension, got a Ford Explorer 8.8 axle. Decided to ditch the leaf springs, bought the Outcast AutoWorks 4-link kit with Viking coilovers, and I do paint. So welding and cutting and fabrication isn't really my forte, and I thought I had a bunch of good progress on here over the last few years as I'd made time on weekends and holidays to go down and work on it at the shop. And turns out having a welder that's not dialed in very well because he bought it used and just not having done this before kind of works against you. So I get home, been working on it, thinking I was making more progress. I had a friend who does do welding and fabrication full time come down and look at it and kind of looked at me and said, dude, you need to grind all these welds out. I was like, are you kidding me? That's going backwards, which is kind of the trend on a lot of things. And he says, yeah, I hate to, I've seen it too many times. I hate to see you get this done. Drop the clutch for the first time in this and then just have part of this frame break. He says these welds suck. He says, we can still save this. You grind them back out. We'll burn back over them with the TIG. Just make it nice and sound. So that's kind of been the recent progress, is grinding out welds, getting them back to where we can walk over them with the TIG torch, flow them out, burn that stuff in better. There's boxing plates up front where I shorten the frame. There's a mini notch kit I got from Backyard Customs, Jake Winterden up in Ogden. And then here's, the 4-link setup, the stuff that came from Kyle's got really nice welds on it, and you can see that mine are not very pretty. And my machine needs some maintenance and dialing in, and I'm not afraid to admit that. So that's all coming back out just like these, and I'm gonna have somebody that knows what they're doing help me get this finished up. And that's kind of where the truck is right now. That's current project, is get the rear suspension dialed up so I can get the chassis back on the ground, then get the front dialed up so this thing can run and drive, and then focus in on body and paint. So anyway, that's it's where the Mercury clone pickup is right now. In other news, since we're talking about friends and critique and feedback and friends supporting friends, that's kind of where I'm going to touch on with pinstriping this week. So tonight I had the chance to go to my buddy's shop. We went to high school together. We kind of worked on cars and, followed up on each other's projects back as teenagers. And then after high school and graduation, kind of kept in touch. He went to go work at the parts store and later as a tech at a mechanic shop and then a service writer, different things. And, I went and worked at the mechanic shop, got into pinstriping, and then later kind of moved over to the body and paint side of things. So that's kind of where I want to touch tonight, is something that's kind of helped my progress and learning over time with pinstriping has been my friends. So since I'm still working on video editing and figuring this out and splicing in some pictures with voiceover type stuff, we're going to keep this one simple into one friend tonight, so I can splice in like 2 pictures and get some practice with that. But ultimately, I have so many different people, friends, family, that have been supporters from day one, that have given me all sorts of different opportunities to practice and paint and learn on different things. But this particular friend, I remember in 2010, right after I kind of started getting into pinstriping, wanting to pinstripe, we were driving around Fort Union area in his Scion TC. When I brought that up to him today, he laughed because he's had so many other cars since then that are way cooler and faster than a Scion TC. But you know, he was pretty happy with that at the time. And as we were driving around Fort Union area, there's Carl's Jr. there that we went to all the time in high school. We'd skip assemblies or we'd go there for breakfast, and just that was one of our spots. But we were driving around in that area one night with one of our other friends. So it was me, Ethan, and Brandon. And they're like, oh yeah, if you're getting into pinstriping, like you just really got to make sure you got your symmetry down, like really practice that, because that's what's important with something like that. And I think at the time, before I even picked up brushes, I just got like a sketchbook from the art store, and I got like those Sharpie paint pens. If I got one in this drawer. I don't know, something. This is a tire pen, but they're kind of like those paint markers. And that was what I got before I got into brushes and stuff. Was just drawing different designs, trying to practice symmetry in a sketchbook. And it's totally different holding a brush than it is a marker. But they were supportive. They're like, yeah, dude, like, get going. Like, maybe someday you can do something on my car. You can help me do this on the truck or whatever. And I was really hesitant early on to like do anything on people's cars, because like you're learning, kind of like my friend had told me that didn't want to do anything on my truck. It's like, oh, I don't want to screw it up. But you know, there's other ways to practice on things that other people are going to have and, you know, display or whatever. So after maybe 4 years of pinstriping, Ethan had 1JZ swapped his like 83 Toyota Celica, and he had this like anodized engine cover, and I'm going to try to splice that photo in this video right now when I edit it. But he just kind of said, do your thing on this, like get wild with it. And it was anodized gold, and it had some embossed lettering and stuff on it, and I went over those letters with black and purple, and then there's like a Toyota Celica like Supra like dragon logo from like the 80s. And so I had like printed that out, and I traced it on there, and I painted that on there, and then I did designs just like all over the place. And it looks so bad. But he was supportive of that. He was just like, hey, like, you know, you've been doing this a few years now. Like, I want you to do something on one of my cars. And it was just an engine cover. And so I was pretty proud of it at the time. It looked pretty cool. But he walked in with it tonight when I was at his shop, and he says, hey, do you remember this? I was like, oh my gosh. Don't show that to anybody. But I'm glad he still has it, because tonight I got to do some pinstriping in his shop, like on a door that goes out to the shop from the office, and it kind of gives you an opportunity to see that progression. You know, it's like, oh hey, I have these multiple pieces from the same person, and here's, you know, one of the first things I had him do for me 10-11 years ago. And then I think somewhere in between, he brought me like a Pinewood Derby car for a work competition they were doing. And early on, there were a lot of things I'd do for friends that I wouldn't charge them for. It'd be like, oh, you know, just buy me dinner, or give me a case of Mountain Dew or something, and we'll call it even. Because you're learning, you know, charging people for your practice. I mean, there are kind of ways you can do that, but something like little like that with somebody you've been friends with for a long time, and they're supporting your like new hobby or passion or pursuit. So I've done a handful of things for him over the years, and we kind of reminisced on that a little bit tonight while I was at his shop. And yeah, just kind of cool to see the progress. Kind of cool to see that friends come back and support you again and again over the years. And I love that, friends support friends. And so where he's got this mechanic shop in kind of in between Sandy and South Jordan, it's like I've started taking some of our car stuff to them. And in turn, over the years, while have been at different body shops, he'll text me and say, hey, we have a customer here at the dealership or over here at the shop that's wanting to have some stuff done. Can I send them your way? And I said, sure, have them call the shop, or different things like that. So it's just friends support friends, friends help friends on their journey to get where they want, reach their goals. And, sometimes you don't know what that price is going to be or what they have to charge you to do it to make it worth their time. But it comes back, and it's rewarding to see each of you reach those goals and to progress and go from where we started out as teenagers, him coming telling me about his cam swap in the mechanic class in high school, and me talking about getting into pinstriping after high school. It's just, it's cool to see we've stuck with different things and got to different places, and that support is still there. So that's kind of quick. Not quick, because this video says it's almost 12 minutes now, but support your friends in something new that they're doing. They may stick with it, they may not, but if they don't have that feeling of support from other people, then why keep going? That's it for tonight. Anyway, thanks for watching.